Hi, my name is Yemi Ajao. I went to high school in Randolph High School in Randolph, Massachusetts. My job title is Resident Services Manager, and I work at the Pellham Lifelong Learning Center. We're technically the Resident Services Department of the Pelham Apartments. I went to a public high school. I believe my education was great, but we didn't really have that much access to folks working in the community, folks that are working in all different types of sectors directly. I was able to be in a program where I actually worked at UMass Boston. I was working in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction at 14 years old, just helping, professors put together their syllabuses, just kind of like as an assistant to the person that headed that department. So I was really exposed to college very early. After high school, I didn't have a choice. My parents, it was college or it was college. That's it. There was no or. I had to go to college. Fortunately, I was, kind of being looked at athletically for both football and basketball. So I was always like going on like recruitment trips at different schools. And I ended up going to one of those schools where they don't even give athletic scholarships on the Division III level. So, but I was able to get some academic scholarships. They were able to work that out for me. So my major was business administration with a concentration in management and a concentration in accounting as well. While I was in school, I'd already interned at like travel agency right across the street from Framingham State. I had a lot of exposure to the field of accounting, so I was working for that agency doing that. And then funny enough, actually I think the summer going into my junior year, I also interned at this place back when we were in our old building, the Pellham Recreation Center, in our old smaller building over there, just as a summer internship, because I always still had that passion, that sense of community and giving back and mentorship of youth and, community engagement and enrichment. After I left college to go work in the field of finance, I went to go work for an investment banking firm that was based in Dallas. But I spent half my time in Dallas, half my time here in Boston. Went to school, graduated 4 years. I, stayed out of trouble as best as possible. I, went and worked in a lucrative type of field, like an entry level. So I was there. I did everything my parents told me to do, but I wasn't necessarily happy. I didn't feel like it fell in line with where my passions lied. A position opened up at the Pellham Recreation Center as a coordinator to start off, and I went for it. Took a pay cut to do it because I was passionate about it. That was one of the better decisions I've ever made. One of the things that I even tell young people is until you find that thing, hold something else down. So don't allow for like a huge limbo space for you to be like, well, this is not exactly what I want to do, so I'm not going to do anything. I know a lot of kids like that are similar to me growing up in an environment where your parents don't come from this country, they come from other countries, and all they know is the generic go to school, you get a degree, no matter how expensive it is, right? Sometimes they're not very wise about being financially, wise about where you're going and how, like you could go the community college path and there's nothing wrong with that. I probably would have done that had I understood this. The burden that, people like us have is we have to be the ones to teach our parents. And I think like my parents did a really good job in allowing me that space to teach them. That's the key, is not just coming empty handed. If you're going to tell your parents, no, I have a different path, make sure that you actually have a plan and that until you get to the space where you're able to execute that plan, you're still holding something else down and you're not just idle. Yeah, so I started as a coordinator, leaving money on the table to come and do work that I care about. So I took it very seriously, and I didn't leave anything unturned. I, left it all out on the floor, like we say in basketball. Like leave it on the floor. Don't have anything reserved, no reserve left in the tank. Leave it all out. I've been like awarded the highest, honor in the company, for outstanding work. And it can be traumatizing, a lot of the things that you see doing this type of work. But I really learned over time, like very early on, how to balance, okay, this is my work. I care, like I have to, my heart is attached to this. But when I leave this place, I have to make sure I'm able to detach and still maintain my sanity. Because if I'm not filled up, I can't pour out. So that's something that I really learned to balance. And over that time, I think because I did a really good job with that, I was able to just learn and network in the midst of doing the day-to-day direct service work and kind of understand the bigger picture because I was able to do both of those at the same time. when we were expanding and moving into this new building and bringing on more staff. Um, it was actually my superiors that came to me. It was like, hey, we think you'd be really good to be our manager. So I accepted the position. They offered it to me. Like the day to day for me now looks like doing direct service work, but also kind of like directing, the staff. We assess the community. So I kind of like help like get our staff on track, kind of provide structure for our staff to be able to execute, multiple simultaneous programming. Right? We have folks that are specifically targeted for the young adults population, the teen population, older adults population. And, I just kind of provide structure for them because I think the favorite part of my job, I would say, is probably, I think just helping, just seeing someone else grow and me being part of someone else's growth, whether it's staff, whether it's a resident that comes to the door, is, they have something that they need, like learning about who they are and watching them and me being a part of them moving forward in life and creating access for them to advance in life and progress in life, and whether it's staff or residents. I think that's my favorite thing. My biggest challenge, I would say, is still at the same time like being kind to myself when I don't get the best results in a situation. But sometimes, we've done our best and that still doesn't result in, like perfect resolution for a family that's going through some type of crisis. It's just kind of like accepting that I'm not going to win every single battle. I definitely believe it's important to have that work-life balance working in nonprofits, because you're pouring out so much. So I think making sure that you take care of yourself, right? Because you have to almost practice what you preach. I think the best way to show people, right, to lead people and to participate in their growth is for you to embody the same thing you're asking them to do. So it's important for you to take care of yourself. Look at some of the things that you do, that you offer to other people, and you take advantage of those things for yourself as well on your off time. I think it's important. Another word of advice for just young folks in general about what they could be doing now, the age of 16, 17, as they're thinking about their career paths, is learning, just absorbing, trying different things. Sometimes you may not even know exactly what it is you want to do, but if you're exposing yourself to different things, you could actually go through like the process of elimination. You try something out and maybe it's not for you. That's okay. But at least you know for sure this is not for me and I'm going to leave this alone. We have 12 interns right now, 12 high school interns. We're going to have one that's a college student that's going to be starting this summer as well. That, like myself and our entire organization is committed to creating those opportunities for young folks to find a path into this type of field. Whatever high school you go to, join different clubs, right? Get exposed to different people that don't look like you, people that are not from where you're from, because then you'll learn more about how the world works all together and where you truly feel like you fit in. So that's the word of advice I give to you.